Hello and welcome everybody. In this video, we are going to discuss who will win in a 1v1 fight between Captain Marvel and Monica Rambeau. We will consider the comic version as well as the MCU versions. At this point, if you are thinking Monica Rambeau holds no chance against Captain Marvel, then let me just tell you, you have no idea what all Monica Rambeau can really do. I already have a video on Monica's powers. Link to that will be in the upper right corner. So before we get started, don't forget to subscribe and press the bell icon so that you will never miss an upcoming update. With that out of the way, let's get started. Let's start with Captain Marvel. We will consider Carol Danvers' version of Captain Marvel, who is claimed to be the strongest superhero in MCU by the likes of Kevin Feige himself. But after Wandavision finale, I guess, we all have our doubts about that. But nonetheless, she is still one of the most powerful heroes when it comes to sheer raw power, and talking about her powers, she has total immunity to poison and diseases, has super stamina, agility, flight, high invulnerability to physical attacks. After all, we saw her tank Thanos' punch, which was powered by the Power Stone itself, although the punch does seem to render her unconscious for a while. But what makes Captain Marvel truly dangerous is her ability to control, absorb and blast energies, and an incredible healing factor to go with it. Now as far as Monica Rambeau is concerned, we just got to see a glimpse of her powers in Wandavision. When her powers first appeared in the series, we see Monica being capable of perceiving a wider array of electromagnetic spectrum, like viewing the energy in the power lines that were around her. But what was more impressive was the fact that Monica resisted any change to her molecules that Wanda's chaos magic would have caused upon entering the Hex, and she completely retains her form and memories. And later when she confronts Wanda, she resists being slammed into the ground by the Scarlet Witch, thanks to her own energy-based powers. And we finally see her powers in action in the finale, where Monica's most impressive abilities appear just in time to save Wanda's children. She was able to perceive bullets in slow motion, confirming her super speed powers. And to save Billy and Tommy, she throws herself in front of the gunfire and ends up becoming a being of pure energy, so the bullets pass right through her without causing her any harm. These abilities that Monica displays thus far in the MCU are the ones she frequently showcases in the comics, as she is not only capable of perceiving and manipulating energy, but she can also turn her body into pure energy. And it is one of her favorite tactics, and this allows her to phase through solid matter, move at the speed of light, and become almost impossible to harm. She can manipulate the energy of all varieties and fire it as blasts from her body. She is also capable of creating powerful explosions, and she can visually alter her appearance. But her more dangerous power is the fact that she can project herself into the eyes of her opponents and directly zap their brains, and thus killing them in the process, or at least knocking them out. So does Monica Rambeau has what it takes to defeat Captain Marvel? Well, on one hand, both of the heroes' powers are energy based. Both can manipulate, absorb and project magic. But this ability of Monica Rambeau is far beyond what the current Captain Marvel can do, since while Carol Danvers can absorb energy, she can't become it. So Monica's ability to transform herself into different energies gives her an advantage, and all the radiation that Captain Marvel throws her way will just pass right through, because that's how electromagnetic waves work. And on top of that, add the fact that Monica can not only fly at light speeds, she can also turn herself completely invisible, and in her pure energy form, she can't be harmed by any physical attacks. So not only Captain Marvel will have trouble finding out where is Monica, even if she does, no punch will be powerful enough to harm Monica whatsoever. So basically Monica can just fly around, invisible, and shoot energy from her hands, basically like a space ghost, except with more power. But this is where Captain Marvel's strength comes into picture, as she can absorb all these energies all day long, and more energy she absorbs, more powerful she becomes. And there are also other advantages that Carol Danvers has. For example, it's true that Monica can survive the vacuum of space, but to do so, she needs to travel in one of her energy forms. But that's not the case with Carol Danvers. She can fly unaided in space, and we have seen Carol battling alien individuals and ships without the need of oxygen or another support service. Carol also has some pretty unique powers, and one of these is akin to a seventh sense. The seventh sense allows Carol to catch a quick glimpse of the future, but unfortunately, this is not a power she could just pull up when needed. It is something that occasionally manifested itself, but lately in the comics, it seems to have disappeared altogether, and we haven't seen it in the MCU too. So now let's move on to weaknesses of Captain Marvel and Monica Rambeau. I had done a separate video on how to kill Captain Marvel, in which I had pointed out all major weaknesses of Carol Danvers. Again, link to that will be in the upper right corner. So let's address Monica Rambeau's weaknesses. Monica's tactic of assaulting her opponent's brain directly is one she tried against Thanos, but Thanos was powerful enough to resist her. So the question is Carol Danvers powerful enough to resist this attack? Because if not, then it is game over for Carol and Monica wins this one in a second. But since Carol is quite powerful and her strength matches that of Thanos, I think it is safe to say that she too would be able to resist this attack of hers. Another limitation of Monica's abilities is the fact that practitioners of mystic arts like Doctor Strange and Agatha Harkness can resist her powers. And worst of all, Monica has also been trapped in opaque materials and dark matter, and on both occasions, she found it difficult to escape. So all Carol has to do is to trap Monica without herself getting tangled in the process. But perhaps Monica's biggest weakness is the fact that she can only absorb so much energy before she becomes unstable and almost ends up losing her powers entirely. And she can also blast limited energy before she needs to recharge herself. But the same is true with Carol Danvers too. She too can only absorb so much energy. But Captain Marvel's threshold for energy absorption is much higher than that of Monica. So if Captain Marvel powers up, by absorbing all of Monica's radiation, she can then overload her with enough energy to knock Monica out. But Monica too has a chance if she tries to use Captain Marvel's energy against her, as Monica can manipulate the energy itself. So what do you think? Which of these energy superheroes would win in a fight? And with that, we will bring this video to an end. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one.